Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable to keynote speech of Altersi Conference. Honorable to presenters from around the world and many universities. Honorable to Altersi Conference Committee and ladies and gentlemen. In this occasion, I am Senata Adi Prasetya. I am come from postgraduate at Sunan Ampel State Islamic University, Indonesia. In this occasion, I would like to present my paper entitled Islamic Ecology and Environmental Literacy in Contemporary Indonesia. Research question: how is the conception of ecology and environmental literacy in Islam? Is there any such thing as Islamic ecology in Indonesia? How can a blueprint of Islamic ecology and environmental literacy be formulated in the context of contemporary Indonesia? Aside Legend TNI Doni Monardo, former head of National Disaster of Institutional, said that Indonesia is a supermarket for natural disasters. Therefore, there must be disaster mitigation efforts that are supported by all elements of society and stakeholders. Conception of ecology and environmental literacy. First, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the notion of the oneness of God, Tauhid in Islam stands for an uncompromising and pure monotheism. Tauhid is a general view of reality, of truth of the world, of space and time, of human history and destiny. Islam strongly rejects the ideas of viewing God in nature or pantheism or nature as God. However, the Islamic unitary principle can be important in an ecotical context. It brings a feeling of wellness and wholeness of the universe as the creation of God. Conception second is man. This is the Quranic description of the creation of Adam, symbolic for all mankind. All the proponents of eco-Islamic ideas whom I have studied bring up the role of man as God's face green or steward Khalifah on earth. Because man is Khalifah, he must act according to the will of God and take care of the earth as he wish. Syed Hossein Nasr, one of the best known thinkers on one of the best intellectual of Islam in the present times, writes as Khalifah Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, he must be active in the world, sustaining cosmic harmony and disseminating the grace for which he is the channel as a result of his being the central creature in the terrestrial order. Nature. One of the most fundamental issues in the ecological debate is that we must economic in the use of natural resource, or else they will soon be depleted. We are aware of the global problems of limited natural resource, such as the shortage of fresh water, of wood, whose destruction can lead to desertification, and of different metals and fossil fuels. We must carefully economize in the use of this natural resource so that they can fulfill the needs of the forthcoming generations. recycling of paper, glass, and metal is a positive step in this direction. In Islam, of course, it is a sin to waste anything. The Quran, as we know, warn against squandering natural resource. Islam does not deny the right of personal ownership, but warn those who use it recklessly. Ecology and environmental in contemporary Indonesia. First, Indonesia has the third largest tropical forest area in the world after the Amazon and the Congo. The forests in this area have big biodiversity, and the Indonesian government has designated millions of hectares as conservation forests as a measure to protect biodiversity and the worst climate. Second, conservation forests throughout Indonesia have an area of 27 million hectares. This figure is equivalent to 1/3 of the entire forest area of Indonesia, or equal to twice the area of the island of Java and Bali. Third, examples of conservation forests are national parks, nature reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, and nature tourism parks, each of which has a different management focus. Fourth, the 1990 forestry law stipulates that conservation forests have a primary function to protect and preserve biodiversity and ecosystem. This is done to ensure that the community can still carry out traditional daily activities, such as farming and religious activities within certain zones. For example, for use zones, communities can use the land as their traditional village. For religious zones, they can use the area as place of worship. The area that humans should not touch at all is the core zone. Ideally, the government hopes that this conservation area management system can be the answer to being able to achieve conservation goals while still accommodating the economic needs of the surrounding community in a sustainable manner. But paradoxically, on the one hand, the government of Indonesia is very excited to be part of the global solution to address climate change, complete with a commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emission by up to 29%. But on the other hand, the same government, along with local government, filed to save citizens and urban ecosystems from the onslaught of garbage and waste. I don't know what's the right name for this situation. Paradoxically, irony or even environmental comedy. The writings of the Minister of Environment and Forestry, Siti Nurbaya Bakar, are in the vortex of the big narrative of global climate change. Will the coverage of Kampung Benge and Kali Jambe or are small stories about local pollution? In other words, the narration for the Minister of the Environment only dwells in the vortex of environmental narratives that have a high chain of presenting environmental quote by quote short-sightedness or hyperopia. In this case, in this context, the authorities fail to see local environmental issues which are consciously or not considered small, but at the same time are very responsive to global environmental issues. Indonesia is a tropical supermarket and beautiful scenery. Indonesia has the third largest tropical forest area in the world after the Amazon and the Congo. Next, how a blueprint of Islamic ecology and environmental literacy in this context in this place, Indonesia. First, the concept God can be vividly understood with reference to the 90 beautiful names of God, or Asmaul Husna. Some of these names or attributes are of special interest in the context of developing an Islamic eco-theology. The most prominent names of God are Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, but of the meaning merciful, gracious, and beneficent. All the action of a Muslim in the name of God are identified with these two attributes. It is suggested that a Muslim who should try to develop in himself the qualities of God as well should consider mercy to be a major motivating factor in his life. Mercy should be shown to everything created by God. Second, in an ecological context, it is important to discuss the notion of God as the creator of the universe. God is the creator, or al-khaliq, al-khaliq, the evolver or the producer, al-badri, and the fashioner, al-musawwir of man and nature. Everything is created in balance, harmony, and of course in due proportion. Tim explains the creation theology of early Islam then is not intended primarily to describe some primordial act of God's creativity, but rather to confess Allah's ongoing creative role in the present life of believers and their world. Second, it has been argued that in accordance with the Quranic message, we have to look upon the earth and nature as a trust. In the ecological debate, there are two main and mutually opposed views of nature's value, are the biocentric and the anthropocentric. The biocentric view of nature implies that nature has an intrinsic value, whether the human being is in it or not. And the anthropocentric view of nature gives nature value because it is beneficial to man. The Islamic view offers a third alternative. It gives an independent value to nature, but does so on the ground that is the creation of God. I would call this a theocentric view. Next, to recognize the sign of God is important for environmental protection. Easy the rights. However, if the protection of the environment is based on its value as the sign of its creator, it is impossible to consider that any one species or group of species alone is sufficient to lead man to contemplate the extensive wisdom and make Allah in all the aspects that are intended. Each species has its own individual role to play in influencing man and convincing him of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala omnipotence, wisdom, and mercy. Perhaps this is why the Quran uses so many different descriptions of the world which surrounds us which surrounds us in order that man might come to have faith in his law. This eco-Islamic view of nature can be a guarantee for the protection of all creatures from extermination. It is an approach that would be compared with the ideas of the philosopher Peter Kant. who has argued that human beings as individual and nature as a species are irreplaceable, a notion which binds men morally to protect rather than not to destroy or harm them. Uh, as concluding remarks or conclusion, as a perfect religion, Islam has a concept of environmental conservation or Islamic ecology and is literacy, a complete religion. This uh, this analysis result that the most essential aspect in conservation environment, which is the preservation of equilibrium between natural and social environment. This is equilibrium can be achieved through reaching an awareness toward equilibrium principles and avoiding destructive attitudes. Mistake of the environment management has a fatal impact human life as suggested by Quran Surah Al-A'raf and Quran Surah Al-Ma'idah. Therefore, Islamic ecology and environmental literacy has a point of significance today in contemporary Indonesia. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.